What's up, everybody? This is your boy AB, and you are now listening to the Unpopular Opinion Sports Podcast. I'm your host, AB. I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in, listening. We're going to get another episode in. I'm very excited for this episode. I hope y'all are too. I got my boy with me coming through, man. I'm going to let him introduce himself. What up, bro?
Yeah, man, my name's Pap. It's your boy, from the 919, Bull City rapping, Durham, North Carolina. Me and my boy AB, we linked up, and he started talking sports with me, and we decided this was a good idea, so we just wanted to try it out, see where this goes.
I recruited, y'all. I had to find a co-host, bro. Potentially co-host, hoping that he gonna stay with us. But I've been recruiting y'all, trying to get this thing going, trying to get it the way that y'all want to hear it. So that's what we giving y'all, man. Giving y'all what y'all want and what y'all need. So what we gonna talk about today, bro? We're gonna talk about LeBron James, Game 6, Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, 2012, 45, 15, and 10. Brian went beast mode, went crazy. So first thing I want to get into, man, if you can recall back, epic performances, that's going to be this series. And that definitely was an epic performance. Where would you rank that if you could think right now, like maybe his top three games like that you've seen LeBron play? Where would that rank for you? Do you think that's number one?
If not number one, it's definitely solid top two. I can give it a 1 or a 2 because I like those Pacers series as well. Yeah, he had some really big performances against the Pacers, and what a lot of people forget about with that Ray Allen shot game was that LeBron was the whole reason that they were even back in that game to begin with. He went on a tear of 10 straight points.
Right, people right
before that shot.
Skip tear that down all the time. He never even mentioned that. He always mentioned the shot that he missed. But he definitely brought them back in that game for sure. Gotta give him that.
That whole shot was because of the heroics that he had right then in that fourth quarter.
Right. It's crazy. I know Pop's still mad that he didn't get dunking in that game though. Because if Bosh ain't get that rebound, it's a wrap.
And that was a barely rebounded type.
Right. Like it was going over his head and he just he got it.
Timmy D would have definitely had him boxed out for that.
Yeah, and Bosh don't really get enough credit for the Miami Heat days too, man. Bosh was vital, and people forget how nasty he was. We're gonna talk about players like him on Unforgotten Heroes. So those unspoken players that we think about. We think about Nick Van Exel. We think about Mike Bibby, Tony Starks. We think about players like Eddie Jones. You know what I'm saying? Players like that. So we're going to get into that. Y'all be ready for that. It's going to be nice. It's going to be hot. It's going to be crazy. So, what you think about LeBron? If you think about the beginning of that game, that look in his face. You remember that look in his face? What was you thinking when you was watching that? Because remember how that all was set up. How, they were facing elimination. They were playing an away game at the Garden. He playing his greatest nemesis. He just lost the finals the previous year against the Mavericks. So all that pressure, what was you thinking as you watching that game?
Well, I'm a huge LeBron fan. So when I was reading that game, that look he had in his eyes, like you mentioned, that look he had in his eyes at the beginning of that game, he just had that killer instinct look in his face. No matter what you do, you can't stop him. And when you are a guy of that talent and that size, it is hard to stop a man like that. And literally, he went in his bag and showed everybody why he is arguably the greatest player in the world right now.
Right, bro.
Arguably of all time.
All time.
But, that's for another day.
So, the beginning moments of that game, can you remember some of the, big, the plays, his play style that game? Because I remember, a lot of people during that time was why LeBron won't get in the post? Why he won't get in the post? Man, that game was one of the games where I saw him be in the post the most. He just dominated from the post. And now we think about the NBA nowadays. Do we even have post-up players these days? You know what I'm saying? Even Embiid shooting threes. You know what I mean? So
every big man that you really don't get a job in the league unless you can shoot.
Right. So talk about we'll do that. Let's talk about the effectiveness in the post, like what the post does for everything on the NBA court. Even though we doing a lot of spacing and threes these days, what you think about what LeBron was doing, particularly in that game in the post?
I feel like he did a great job in the post in that game. He did a great job overall, but like his shooting that game was amazing.
Right.
You could see some of the moves he was making, and he was creating a lot of space just off of the fact that he's such a threat to drive to the basket.
Yeah.
So when you have a guy that's a threat to drive to the basket, and then he can turn around and hit a quick little step back jumper on you, it's hard to stop something like that.
Yeah,
man.
He was hitting turnarounds. He was, using a jab step. His footwork was really phenomenal, which a lot of people don't talk about LeBron's footwork.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people actually talk down on LeBron James' footwork. His first step, a lot of people get on that first step.
And I think his footwork is not, supreme,
mm-hmm.
but in that game, I think he was so focused, everything was flowing for him. You know what I'm saying? His first play in the game actually wasn't even a point. He didn't shoot and score. It was an assist to Chalmers, in the corner. So, that's another player that don't get as much credit, Mario Chalmers and what he did for those Miami Heat teams. But LeBron was just killing them, man. Like, turnaround jumpers, driving to the basket, going to the post, rebounding, boxing out, and defensively what Miami Heat was doing to the Celtics in that game was incredible, too.
Closing out, like, switching great on defense, coming around the screens the right way, closing out on shots, like, boxing out for the rebound. Those are little things that don't get talked about in the box score, but they are pivotal to win games, especially big playoff games, like a Game 6 elimination game on the road. As LeBron James, you need your team to come through and do things like that. You have to have that.
Right. And he, they all were so disciplined that game, I would say. Like, that's the word that I think of. Like, LeBron was disciplined, even in his, what he was doing, but as a team collective, they were all disciplined. And one play I just thought of, man, I remember, I think in the first quarter, LeBron was looking at Spoelstra and was like, what play you want me to call? Dribbling the ball. And he just, like, screw it. It just hit a crossover and just hit a three, like, right in the defender's face. Like, that's stuff where you just, like, okay, like, there's no defending him today. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go home. Let's go and pack our stuff, because ain't no point in us even playing this game how LeBron was playing. Like, he was getting them out of there. Like,
that's that aggressiveness that he plays with, though. Like, when LeBron literally, like, ducks his head and knows, like, this game is mine. I have this.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. The man is 6'8". At this point, he was, like, 275.
Yeah, he was playing angry, too. He was playing angry, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he's grabbing a rebound coast to coast. Fast breaks. No other body, no one else touches the ball. It's all him.
All him. So, it's just crazy, man. We also watching the draft right now. And as we speak, Justin Jefferson just got picked by the Minnesota Vikings, which is, great for them because they need a replacement for Diggs. You know what I'm saying? They traded Diggs.
With him going to Buffalo.
Which was huge. We're going to be talking about that too. Don't worry, football fans. We're going to get it all for you. But back to this, man. The whole game, I think, was pretty tight. And LeBron had to, make some really crazy plays. But what would you say would happen to LeBron's legacy if he loses that game? Like, he, like everything that I mentioned before about, the losing to the finals against the Mavericks, the talking about game, not 5 rings, not 6 rings, not 7 rings, when they all got together with the Miami Heat. If they lose 2 years in a row and don't get a finals win, a championship, what you think happens to LeBron at that point?
Well, that's a tough situation for a player like LeBron. I mean, when you have such a high rank coming in and everyone's calling you the king and you're supposed to take over, and you've come this far in your career, you don't have a championship. You're on one of the best teams in history and you still can't get it done. That hurts. And the media is already in the psyche about getting swept when he made it and him being so great but never being able to finish the job, like you said, with the Mavericks thing and going cold in the finals that year. Like, he's not only guarding Jason Terry, but he's getting outshined by the man he's guarding, who is half his size.
Right. Right. So
that would have killed his legacy. There's no telling. And I think when we were talking about this earlier, you mentioned a little tidbit that you had noticed about Pat Riley, saying he would have broken the team up because of all the money they were costing and not performing, and that would have really had a big hit on his legacy, I feel like.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, it's just so, so I think that would have been it for LeBron as far as his psyche. I don't think he would have came back. He might not have won a championship, honestly. I'll say that definitively. Like, maybe LeBron would have never won. He might have ended up like Charles Barkley.
And I can agree with that. As a LeBron fan, I can wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah, like he might have won one because he LeBron. You know what I'm saying? So I could probably give him one, but I definitely don't think he would have won 3 by now. Hey, I just want to thank everybody for listening, for tuning in. This is another episode of Unpopular Opinion. We're going to have a series on this, so don't miss the next one when we talk about what we're going to talk about. I ain't going to tell y'all yet, but you know, just be ready for that. Be on the lookout for that coming soon. My boy came and rocked it with me, killed it. Thank you for coming through, bro. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you for having me,
You know what I'm saying? No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
So we going to get out of here, man, and thank y'all for listening. This is AB, Unpopular Opinion.